Reagan Wexler was not a name people spoke aloud for long. It had a way of lingering in the air, uncomfortable, unfinished, like a sentence cut short. Before anyone knew her as a criminal, she was just another anonymous presence online. She drifted through obscure forums and hidden corners of the internet, eventually becoming involved with a site called Snacrifice, a place that blurred the line between performance, control, and something far more sinister. It marketed itself as extreme experiential art, but those who stayed long enough understood that it attracted people fascinated by domination, submission, and the erosion of boundaries. Reagan didn't just participate, she thrived there. Her persona grew quickly. Cold, composed, and disturbingly charismatic, she cultivated a following. People paid for increasingly extreme requests, though the line between staged and real was never entirely clear. Reagan's content carried an unsettling realism that made even longtime users uneasy. Then came the request. It arrived from a user who had been following her for months, someone obsessive, wealthy, and disturbingly devoted. The message was simple, but loaded with implication. An offer of money in exchange for an experience that would go beyond anything the site had seen before. Most would have ignored it. Reagan didn't. What happened next was never fully proven. The user vanished. No body was ever found. But fragments, deleted posts, encrypted messages, and a single corrupted video file suggested that Reagan had crossed a line that even Snacrifice had never intended to allow. Authorities began circling. The site disappeared overnight, but Reagan had already moved on. Because Snacrifice had never been the end goal, it was just a doorway. Behind it lay something older, more structured, and far more dangerous. A cult known as the Circle of Chapel Ray. Chapel Ray was not a man many had seen, but his ideology spread like a virus. He preached that religion had poisoned humanity, that faith itself was the root of division, war, and suffering. His followers believed in dismantling it completely, not through debate, but through calculated disruption. They infiltrated communities, dismantled institutions, and targeted symbols of belief. Reagan found purpose there. Where Snacrifice gave her control, Chapel Ray gave her meaning. Some began to suspect a connection between her actions online and the cult's philosophy. Chapel Ray's doctrine emphasized consumption of belief, not literal but symbolic, the destruction and absorption of systems that gave people identity. Reagan's work on Snacrifice mirrored that idea in a disturbing, personal way. She didn't just break boundaries, she erased them. Investigators would later theorize that her acceptance of that final request wasn't about money or notoriety. It was initiation, a test. After that, sightings of Reagan became sporadic. A woman matching her description appeared near the site of a burned-down chapel. Another report placed her at a protest that turned violent when religious symbols were defaced overnight. Each time, she vanished before authorities arrived. No arrests were ever made. No definitive proof was ever uncovered. But within certain circles, deep, hidden ones, her name still circulates. Not as a warning, as a legend. And somewhere, in the shadow of collapsing belief systems and fractured ideologies, the followers of Chapel Ray continue their work. Some say Reagan Wexler is still among them, watching, waiting.